Hello, and welcome to the Posers Podcast, the place where we skip the fluff, say the quiet parts out loud, and dig into what really matters. This is where photography, psychology, and business collide. I'm Jody, your host, and I'm bringing you my raw takes, hard wins, and a whole lot of unfiltered honesty about what it takes to build a photography business that actually connects and makes money. So ladies, grab your headphones and get your tits up and your ears open, because we are going to build something really incredible together.
Welcome back to the show. Today I am so excited to dive into today's conversation with Jody Hendrix. And first I want to preface this with there may be a little spicy language in this episode. So if you have tiny little ears, it might not be the right time to listen or watch this show. So just to let you guys know and out of the way, this may be a little explicit and we're okay with that. So Jody Hendrix is the powerhouse behind Posers, the posing method, and a portrait studio built from the ground up through grit, psychology, and audacity. Jody blends emotional intelligence with photography in a way that is rare in our industry. Today we get to go deep into the psychology behind unforgettable portraits, confident leadership, and the authority photographers often forget they already have. And I cannot wait for this one. I've been waiting for months for this conversation. So welcome, Jody.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my God, that makes me feel really good, and also puts a lot of pressure on me right now. I'm like, oh my God, I better deliver.
Oh, like seriously, your response when after I sent you an email, I was like, we are now friends. Yeah, I cannot wait.
What did
It was like
I
within
fire
30
off
seconds. It
email
was amazing.
responses. That doesn't surprise me because I am connected to my phone. But I also fire off email responses the same way that I talk, the same way that I live, very much so just off the cuff. And whatever I said is what I said. And honestly, it's kind of none of my business after the fact.
Yeah.
Which is so not true because everything that comes out of my mouth is fully my business. But for some reason, I act as if like I just whatever I want to say, I'm going to say. And then I don't remember half of it later. So who knows what I said in that response to you?
Seriously, I think I'm like that, but I think it's because of perimenopause. Possibly.
Same.
No brain.
Same. No, it's not even no brain. It's you get into the world if I don't give a fuck. No fucks are left. No fucks are given. I'm going to say what I say, and I said what I said.
Yeah.
Period.
I love it. So for those that are meeting you for the first time, who is Jody?
As
and
if
what
that was
I know, right? You're like, I'm here, obviously.
I'm like, I think I just introduced myself.
So what are you most passionate in this season of work in your life?
Ooh, you come out of the gate swinging.
I come out hard, swinging.
Yeah, for anybody who actually doesn't know, I mean, oh my God, that made me sound like, oh my God, don't you know who I am? No, I don't mean it like that. But for like anybody who's listening, I don't live inside of the newborn world. So a lot of your listeners might not know who I am. So for those of you who don't know me, let me introduce myself. I am the owner of JM Photography Studio. And I am a burnout of the wedding photography world and a transplant into the portrait world. I switched over from weddings to portraits. God, it's been a while now. It feels brand new still, but I switched over, I think, in like 2022. So I'm really like, I'm my own newborn baby inside of the portrait world. If you want to swaddle me, wrap me in a cloth, photograph me in a bowl, that's fine. I actually looked at your Instagram earlier and I was like, oh my God, that's a gorgeous photo of this baby in a bowl. Like, who would have thought? No, but so I switched over into portraits. I'm a newborn baby over here. But immediately I opened a studio in 2022 and I just to the races, like up and running. I loved it. And I tripled my income in that first year that I opened a studio. And honestly, I was like, what is this world? And I fell into it. I loved it. It took me a minute to sort of like adapt to the idea of studio posing and things like that. But the minute I got it, I was like, oh my God, I'm obsessed. But really on a selfish side, I was so obsessed with the idea of working at 10 o'clock in the morning instead of sunset hours and dinner time hours. and weekends, and then also still being able to make more money than I was as a wedding photographer. So that's who I am in sort of like the portrait sense, in the photographer sense. I also just started the Posers podcast. I sort of birthed a new baby, which
Yeah.
my sort of foundation inside of the educational side of the world is my posing method that is completely founded on principles that are based inside of psychology. And so whenever I was like really thinking about education and stepping into that world, I was like, what kind of like a title of a podcast works for me? And I was like, it has to be Posers.
Yeah.
And I'm absolutely in love with it. I started the Posers podcast. I now have the Posers Mastermind. And then obviously my like flagship being the posing method, which is completely founded in that. But the question of being, what am I most passionate about right now? It is 100% a little bit more on like my personal side is really teaching women how to create businesses that they are actually running like real, legitimate businesses and unapologetically stepping into a world of saying, I want more and I deserve more and I can call in more and I'm worth more. And really teaching that like business side of how to create photography businesses that are not only encroaching six figures, but toppling over into multi six figures. I get really, really passionate about the idea of women having the freedom to do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
financial
I love
freedom,
that.
emotional freedom, like just confidence freedom, I guess, even to say, I don't know if that's a word for that, but that's where my passion would lie for sure.
I love that. Love that. So you've been open about rebuilding after a marriage that dismissed your work and your worth, which sucks. So what did the process of
It did.
reclaiming your voice, your authority, your confidence actually involve, and what shifted first for you?
Well, for one, it did suck. It
Yeah.
sucked really bad. And, you know, the thing with my marriage was that, like, it didn't suck for a really long time. And then all of a sudden it sucked and it really sucked. And I was married to a man who really liked to dismiss everything that I wanted in my life, not really liked to, really abused that and abused
Yeah.
me and abused who I was as a person. So getting out of that marriage was the most difficult thing I've ever done
Absolutely.
in my life. But it's funny because before, whenever I was just being Jody, like me growing up, me like as like a younger person, I was always overly confident. I always had this idea that like I was a straight A student, I was a Division 1 athlete, I was an overachiever. I was going to be good at anything that I wanted to be good at, right? And I never had this problem with self-worth. I never had a problem with confidence. I never had a problem with anxiety or depression or anything like that. And then going through the divorce, it cracked all of that. And really, it was the first time in my life that I ever struggled with any of those sort of things. And it was almost that it wasn't almost, it was the most humbling time of my life of thinking, oh my God, this is what people are talking about.
Yeah.
This imposter syndrome is what people are talking about. This lack of confidence, this lack of self-esteem, this like inability to make decisions on your own or stand on your own 2 feet, like that sort of, I was like, oh God, like this is it. And I think that maybe because I hadn't had a big enough dose of that in my life, the universe was like, whoa, bam.
Bam.
And it crushed everything.
Yeah.
And so coming out of that, it very much so looked on the outside as like a rebuilding, obviously. And I mean, Instagram has this way of everything being a highlight reel, right? Everything looking, oh, look, she's divorced, but she's rebuilding. Oh, look, her husband left, but you know, she's being such a great mom. Or, oh, look, she's got this business that she's building and she's doing so great. So there was no montage. There was no highlight reel. There was no any of that, like in the real world behind the scenes. it was like a million micro moments had to stack one on top of each other to sort of mold me back into the person that I was prior to divorce stuff. So there wasn't like this one thing of, oh, well, fuck him. I'm gonna, do all this. No, it was like, I'm gonna cry in my bed for weeks on end, and then maybe I'm gonna get up for a day.
Yeah.
And then maybe I'm gonna go back to my bed for another week, and then maybe I'll get up for a day. And it was hard. It was the single-handedly the most hardest thing I've ever gone through in my whole entire life. And I would be lying to say that I don't still struggle with it at
100%.
times, But I would say that it was my business 100%, and my boys, of course. I have 3. At the time, they were 3 little boys that I was raising, but now I have 3 almost men, which is crazy. But it was them and my business that got me through all of it, because it really gave me a place that I could focus somewhere else. I could focus outside of me. I was in years and years in therapy, like rehabbing all of that, rebuilding all of that, and getting myself back into a place inside of myself that I could function again. But my boys and my business really gave me this place where I could build outside of myself too, and I could focus on something else. That and redecorating a new house. So
And redecorate a new house.
yeah, that was my therapy. Well, because like I love to gut and renovate a house.
Yeah.
And so whenever the divorce happened, we obviously split. Everything had to get split. The house had to get sold, like all of that. And my ex-husband made decent, very good money. So we had this like bigger home, bigger life. Everything looked perfect from the outside sort of vibes. And then the divorce came along, and I had to downsize that, purchase another house. So I gutted and remodeled this smaller home for me and my boys. And it really became this safe haven kind of place. It's also where I realized I'm so much more of an introvert than people think that I am.
Yeah.
Because I built this house, and it was like, I never wanted to leave it. I never wanted to go outside the walls of it. Like, it was just the one place in my life that felt so incredibly safe at that time. So yeah, my boys, my business, and redesigning a new house. That was my therapy.
I love it. Well, number one, I'm so sorry that you went through the abuse, and that's just horrible. And
thank you.
You should be so fucking proud of yourself for what you have come out the other side from.
Yeah.
Like, it's not easy.
I am really proud of all of that. I think that like people talk about, the glow up. The glow up that happens post-divorce is like everybody loses weight. Everybody is, oh shit, I got to go back into the dating world. I got to do all of that. But I think that what really is like noticeable to me is not just like that I've sort of stepped back into being who I was prior to the divorce and all of that, but an expanded sense of that I've really shown myself like that I'm capable of way more than I ever gave myself credit for back then. And that's still something that I'm really getting used to right now, because especially stepping into the education side of things, like that's all brand new to me. So it's still just, oh shit, I can do that. Oh shit, I can do that. Oh God, I made that much money this year. Like it still feels very new to me, and I'm still very like proud even as I keep on. The glow up continues is basically what I like mean by that. So
I love that. I love that. You really touched to a lot of things, because the person that you described that you were not growing up was the person I was growing up, with the low self-esteem, with the anxiety, all the things. And so when I came into photography and teaching, holy crap, it was terrifying. That was and just I've been teaching online for 14 years now. And watching yourself age on camera, gain weight and lose weight on camera, and not get in your own head about it. Like, it's probably been my biggest obstacle, is like how mean I am to me. So I want to talk about shrinking and how, even as women and as a society, like we shrink. We dull our
Yeah.
sparkle. We don't show
Well,
up
we're
right?
conditioned to shrink.
Yeah.
We're told to shrink. We are taught to shrink
To make others
and
comfortable, to make other people
to make
comfortable.
to make others comfortable, to make everybody feel okay, to make sure that you're warm and you're kind and you're caring and that you have empathy. Like that's what we're taught
Yeah.
completely as little girls. And so then by the time we get into this space of being mothers and being business owners and or even like in a corporate world, like
Mhm.
making partner or like going in and getting a higher degree somewhere, something like that. It's like then we get to that point and we question ourselves and we freak out and we self-sabotage
Yeah.
and we like do all of those things that men don't ever even have to think
Mhm.
about. They don't ever even have to face it
Yeah.
because they're conditioned a certain way as boys and then we're conditioned a certain way as girls. And it's just shitty.
Yeah. And what's even funnier is like the more competent I get, the less confident I am about it, which is so silly. That doesn't make any sense.
Hold on, let's say that again. The more competent you get, the less confident you get about it.
In sharing it, meaning it could be my photography, it could be on camera, it could be anything really. It's just I get in my head and I'm like, oh, like this is stupid. This is
You want to know why? You want to
Yes.
know why? Is because this isn't the psychological answer. I don't know that answer from a psychological standpoint, but what it sounds like is like the closer you get to knowing things or being great at something, that's the minute that we're sort of taught, don't brag.
Yes.
Oh,
And I'm Canadian.
yeah. Oh, that's even worse. Even worse, you're Canadian. No, but
Sorry.
like that. Yeah, exactly. That idea of, oh, I have to apologize because I'm so good at this, or oh,
Yeah.
I need to make sure that all of the photographers who are around me feel as though I'm not better than them.
Yeah.
When really you're in the education space, you are set there to teach them. That is your purpose. And so I get it that the thing that you are really good at, you then try to diminish. You almost dim your own light.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, let's not do that anymore.
No, I don't think so. And it's been funny because I was talking to my business partner about this recently about how I really struggle with showing up online because I feel like there's me that's the polished and I enjoy it. I enjoy being prepared. I enjoy going online as an educator and as a teacher and as a mentor. But going online as just Lisa, a mom from Kamloops in Canada, it just feels like my brain just hits a wall. Like I can't be two people.
Interesting.
Right?
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. I think that I sort of struggle in the same way on my side of my business too, because I don't do all of my social media anymore. Like I run my stories and I show up anytime that it's actually like really personal. But the actual posting and things like that, that's run by like a social media team. And I think that I've been more self-conscious
Mm-hmm.
seeing how somebody else represents my business for me than I am to just like hop on an Instagram story and be like, hey, what are you guys doing? This is the stupid shit I'm up to today. I can do that
I love that.
100 times over.
I cannot.
But then like my social media team will post a video of me, like a behind the scenes of me out on the shoot somewhere. And I'm like, honestly, I think their offices are over on the East Coast somewhere. I'm like, I'm about to go get on a flight and jump over there and fight them
Yeah.
for putting up a video where my belly is hanging out. What the hell are you doing?
Yes. Oh, girl. Yeah. Been there. Took it back.
I'm like, honestly, did nobody notice that I look 40 pounds heavier than I actually am in that video? But the thing that I've actually been talking to my husband and my team and like everybody who's in my life about is this shift that I have going in my head right now, that we have to balance both sides of the sense of I'm a photographer and I have my clients watching me and I'm creating images for people and I'm sort of like, I don't know, showing my talent and my business over there on that side. But then there's this whole other side of my business now that it's sales focused.
Yeah.
It's more of a business. It actually has to take care of people. It actually has employees. It actually has, things that I have to generate enough income that I'm paying the team. And so then I think in my head, I'm like, if that post that my belly is hanging out a little bit, or I look a little pudgier than I am, or my self-confidence is low, if that's feeding the people on my team, so be it. So be it. Like, I will fall on whatever sword is needed to fall on in order to make sure that the sales are happening on that side of the business. So it's just this, you know what it is, Lisa? This is my psychological assessment. It's a mind fuck.
It is a mind fuck. Yes, it really is.
And if you literally cannot get yourself out of the headspace of tearing yourself down through all of that, if you can't get out of that, then I question like how far you can really go with your business, because the whole entire, our whole entire industry runs off of social media and video and creating content and being out there and being seen and being visible. And I think that being visible is one of, if not the biggest fear that women have, because we've been conditioned to shrink as much as we have.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's funny because I was doing a lot of journaling and I'm like, why is this? Like, what? Like, I really want to figure this out and get this nailed this year, because I don't want to be that. I want to be able to show up and be me and just be happy and do whatever, right? And I came to the conclusion is that I feel that when I'm not providing value, I'm not worth watching. I'm wasting people's time.
If you're not providing value, then you're not valuable.
Exactly. And I was like, oh, Lisa, that's not good. We got to figure that one out.
Yeah. It's always stemmed to our childhood.
Right?
It always is. There is like my childhood was so much more of, I grew up very poor. And I grew up without this word feeling as gross as it feels, like I grew up very dirty, if that makes sense. Like I was a dirty, feral child. So we lived in a trailer house. Our place was dirty, not because my parents weren't like great parents, but because they were working 3 jobs.
Right.
And they were 17, 18, 19 years old when they were having kids.
Wow.
And they're working 3 jobs, and a trailer park house with little tiny children gets so messy all the time. Right. And that didn't stop in my life. Like my parents didn't really get their feet underneath them financially until I was like starting high school. And so my whole biggest insecurity comes in regards to, am I worthy? Can I change the narrative of what I was whenever I was growing up, this little dirty, filthy child that was like in a house of neglect? And can I then change my world? And can I then ask people to give me money? And can I then provide for my boys the way that I wanted to be provided for whenever I was a little girl? Right. So like, no matter what, anything that you're struggling with in regards to being valuable, being worthy, showing up, and just showing different parts of you, like it's all going to be rooted in your childhood, no matter what.
Completely. That's some really good insight.
I'm not that kind of psychologist, so I don't know that side of like therapy and like things like that. But I do love a ton of self-help. I do love everything, especially self-help whenever it's mixed with business. I'm a consumer of books all the time. So that's what I take from my therapist and from everything that I read and from everything that I like consume, is basically we're all especially us women, we're all screwed from childhood.
Totally. Like my dad was a dentist. Like we were fine. Money was not an issue. It was like being perfect was the issue.
There it is. It's if you don't show up perfect and polished, and if you're not like saying the right thing and doing the right thing. And I struggle with this too, also sometimes in the education space, because there's always this thought of, what do I need to figure out in order to help other people? Right. And that's my job now, my job. But that actually isn't my job. Right. And it isn't your job either. My job is to run my business and to do such a good job at running my business that then I can tell other women how I ran my business. My job isn't to go out and know everything in the world in order to be able to solve everybody's problems.
Yeah.
But for some reason, that's the pressure we put on ourselves.
Right?
That's what we think, is that we need to be everything for everybody,
Yeah.
instead of just stepping into ourselves and saying, no, I've proven that I've built a multi-six-figure business. I've proven that I know how to run a photo shoot incredibly well based on the psychology that I know. All that I have to do is now teach other women that.
Yeah.
And for some reason we don't do it.
We glitch. What the heck, right?
Yeah. It's all like the brain is so fascinating and it's so powerful that it blows me away. Even some of the stuff that I'm reading sometimes, especially like neuroplasticity and like the
it's
fact
so
that like
interesting. Oh, I
it's
love
so
it.
interesting, the power that our brains have, and like these studies that I read about your like happiness and things like that. Like it's just wild how incredibly powerful it really is. But it's probably more powerful on the negative side than it is, until you can control it.
Yeah.
Positive on, or more powerful on the positive side, because obviously those negative emotions are always going to be so much greater than the positive one.
This past summer, I actually went on anti-anxiety medication for the first time in my life. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is how normal people feel. Like,
Yeah.
what? Y'all aren't stressed with everything? Thinking about the worst thing that's going to happen right now? Oh,
I was talking to a friend about this the other day, and she was like, well, you take an antidepressant, don't you? And I was like, no, I actually don't. Should I? Yes, probably 100%. But I told her I didn't. And then she was like, okay, well, what do you take for anxiety? And I was like, I don't. And she was like, you're telling me that you're just out here raw dogging this shit? And I was like, yeah, it's like I run on Diet Dr. Pepper and anxiety. That's how I function. I don't know. But I've thought that before too. I'm like, is what I go through on a daily basis, is it normal? If I took an antidepressant, am I all of a sudden going to see this other side? And I'm going to be like, oh, wow, people are actually happy.
You're pretty happy to me, girl. I'm pretty happy.
I am a pretty happy person. But I mean, this is a female podcast. I feel like we can say these sort of things, but I really ride the wave of my cycle.
Yeah.
And I think that, why did I just say my cycle? Like as if we're grandmas. No, my period. Like when Aunt Flo comes, God, that's embarrassing. No, like I really ride that cycle really heavy. And I'm 44. So am I jumping into perimenopause? Probably. But I think that I have, what is it called? It's called like PDD or
PMDD,
something like
100%.
Yeah,
that like burn the house down at the end of your cycle.
Oh, it's not the end for me. It's like the 3 days before I'm going to start my period. I literally, and I cannot convince my brain otherwise. I think my world is collapsing. I think that my business is collapsing. I think that I'm never going to make money again. I think that everything that I built was just a complete farce, and that what word is farce also? Why do I get on a podcast and then all of a sudden I have some other like language?
I have been reading my toilet paper words.
Exactly. Who am I? No, but I really, really go through depression in that kind of way.
Yeah.
To where I feel like I can't get out of bed for the 3 days prior to my period. And then literally every single freaking time my period hits, and I'm like, oh. And I'm 44 years old. I've had 44 years. Well, I didn't start my period when I was born, but like I've had so many years to get used to this, and you cannot convince me on that third day before my period that my world is not ending.
Yeah.
You can't. So I need medication. I need help. I need hormonal balance. I need all of that. And I don't know where this podcast got off the rails.
It's all right. It's how it usually goes.
Okay, great.
We're on a side quest. It's totally fine.
We have a list of 20 questions we're supposed to be.
We have answered none. No,
we've answered 0. And also your questions are really good. Even in like I mean, we've answered like 4.
Yeah.
But even in going through them, I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I know that answer.
You're like, is this a test?
I was like, oh, okay, so she studied me and
Oh,
literally
I've
everything
studied.
about my business is fake. And
I Oprah dive people. I just want to know everything. I am nosy. I am nosy AF.
you're the Oprah of photography. You're the Barbara Walters
I
of
want to
the
know.
photography space. I love it. I just told you all about my period. You can know everything you want.
I love it. We're besties now. Okay,
I
well, I'm
know.
going to turn our car around and see if we can get
I know
back on track.
we need
We
a
might
full
not.
segue away from my period.
Right. Speaking of humanness, you're
I
known
love
for
it.
blending human behavior with psychology. What patterns do you see in clients that most photographers miss? And how does that change the way you shoot?
God, if there was a Pulitzer for a segue, Lisa, you just got it. I don't think that other photographers miss these things at all. I think we all can see red flags. I think we can all see awkwardness. I think we can all see, kids who are going crazy, toddlers who are running rampant. I think we can all see moms who are too stressed out. I think we can all see the red flags of, dad being cranky, not wanting to be there. I think we can all see that.
Yeah.
There's no question. I think the only thing that I've done different is that I've studied it and that I have paid attention to it so hard and wanted to actually solve the problem.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference, right? Is like those red flags are apparent for everybody, but I think that every photo shoot sort of feels like it's a thumbprint or like a snowflake. Like every single photo shoot, not a single one of them is the same, right? Not a single one of them has the same exact behaviors that are going on. So I think that the thing that I do is I really take a minute, like even whenever people are getting out of their car for the photo shoot, even the text messages or the phone calls I'm having with mom being stressed out because they're late getting there or like things like that, I really analyze and then really want to make sure that the way that I'm handling the situation is based on what they need from me.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, in even the example of them getting out of the car, like, I feel like I'm clocking them. I'm clocking where they're at. I'm clocking where their behaviors are. I'm clocking how relaxed or how not relaxed they are. And especially like with dads, I'm clocking all of that to see what it is that they need from me and how I can step in to make sure that I'm making everything like smooth.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference. It's not so much, oh, I'm some magician and I see behaviors differently. It's just that I see them and then I'm like, okay, now I know that I need to do this and this and this in order to fix that.
Yeah.
Right? If that makes sense.
Yeah, it really is the art of noticing. It's just noticing like all the little details, even the micro expressions, the little looks, like all the little things.
Yeah, I think that the thing everybody uses the word like influence and persuasion, like in the world of psychology, or even about like social media, or even about like our businesses, or having people like, make decisions that you want them to make. That's influence, right? That's persuasion. So I think that really at the nuts and bolts of influence is just listening. It's just listening and making sure the person knows that you listen to them, and then taking into account how they're feeling and how they're thinking, and then still asking for the behavior that you want from them, but making sure that you heard them first and then asking for it.
Yeah.
Right. That's a huge difference. I have a whole entire download about like a free guide about understanding men's behavior and how to influence that behavior. And especially like in relation to being on a photo shoot, because we would all love to influence men's behavior at all times in the world. But on a photo shoot, that's what the download's about. But like with men, we have this idea in our head, especially as women, as wives, we think if a guy shows up on a photo shoot and he's a dick, then you're like, ew, stop being a dick, right? Like automatically as women, our brains go to, can't you just be nice because your wife wants this? Or can't you just be nice because you want to create these memories with your kids too? Can't you just? Yeah. But it really takes just a little bit of stepping back and opening yourself up to what he's thinking and opening yourself up to what he's feeling. And once you do that and you think, if any man wanted me to go and watch a football game for 4 hours on a Saturday, I'd tell him to fuck off.
Yeah.
I'd be like, no, I don't want to. That's not how I want to spend my Saturday. Like, I don't want to do that. I'd be cranky about it. I'd be just as cranky as probably a husband is for him having to come and do a photo shoot for a couple hours on his Saturday, right? So once you see that and then you clock it, and then you walk up to dad and give him a little squeeze on the arm and just ask him, be like, hey, how much do you hate this?
Yeah.
How much do you hate this? Scale of 1 to 10, how much do you hate this? And for them, especially if it's like a new client and it's not somebody that you have a relationship built with already, but like to walk up and ask him that question directly, I think automatically disarms him because he's not expecting you to allow him to hate it, right? He's expecting that he has to show up, he has to be fake, he has to put on a smile, he has to play the super dad sort of role. And the minute you just walk up and say, dude, I get it. All of my dads hate this.
Yeah.
But we're going to make like really great photos afterwards. So if you can just give me a little bit, I'll get you out of here as fast as I can.
Yeah.
Something like that, automatically within 10 seconds of starting that photo shoot, you've already got dad on your side.
Yeah.
Right? You've already got dad understanding that like, I'm at least going to come at this with some sort of empathy for what you're actually feeling. And I just literally gave him a scenario where like, I'm like, hey, I see you, I feel you, and I'm going to hear you, and I'm going to do everything that I can to make sure that this doesn't suck for you.
Yeah.
And usually that's all they need to know in order to be like, yeah, I'll do that thing with you. Yeah, I'll pick up that kid. Yeah, I'll like, you know, whatever. And then I screw around a lot and have a ton of fun with them. And then it changes their perception of what a photo shoot is and all of that. But that noticing of behaviors is automatically the first thing that I'm doing on a photo shoot so that I know where I need to step in and like temper things down a little bit.
What has really surprised me about it, because I love this, I love it because I've been reading a lot more on brain psychology over the past few years. And it's interesting because I didn't realize or even put two and two together. Men are also worried about how they look.
They're so insecure.
They're so insecure, right?
I actually wrote that on my notes to say at some point in this, that like that understanding of a lot of times dads coming on a shoot and being cranky and being like, you know, jerkish or dickish or whatever, it actually stems from so much insecurity that they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They don't like how they look a lot of times because we style them inside of a collared shirt and a sweater.
I don't wear that.
And they're hot and they're sweaty and they hate it and all of that. But there's a huge amount of insecurity that they are operating inside of a world that they don't feel like they're the expert. And for a man, that's really, really, really hard to do.
Yeah.
And it's so imperative that we understand that most of those cranky behaviors, even inside of our marriages, even inside of our friendships, inside of any relationship, anytime you come upon a person who's prickly or defensive, 9 times out of 10, it's because you've touched on an insecurity.
Yeah.
And a photo shoot for a man is a full-blown masterclass in a man's level of insecurity.
Like seriously, like the amount of times that I heard, oh, can you take care of the bald spot, or you can, don't worry, like whatever you need, I will take care of. Right.
Yeah. They talk about photoshopping their tummies. They talk about all of that just as much as the women do.
When I do the dad holding the newborn and they're shirtless, they go down and they do their like push-ups. And then they
my
back
God,
up.
really?
Seriously, yeah.
Okay.
And then I put them in this pose like this. And I'm like, they're like, oh, do you think you can make my muscles a little bigger? I'm like, I can do whatever you want. I can definitely do that. I can pose you to make them bigger.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. Okay. See, I'm not a newborn photographer. So I've never had a dad literally break down into push-ups on a photo shoot. So that's the first I've ever heard of that.
Yep. And actually, it's usually firefighters. Oddly enough.
Oh, interesting. God, so much bro energy, right? But it's the same. If you think about it, it's the exact same way that we suck in our stomachs.
Absolutely.
It's the exact same way that every mom wants to put out the little bat wing because it makes her arm look skinnier. That's the biggest thing in understanding all of this is like whenever we put people in front of our cameras, they're like a fish inside of a fishbowl,
Yeah.
right? They feel like it's a magnifying glass on every single one of their insecurities. And really, our job is to just come in and make the photo shoot as comfortable as you can make it and make it feel as effortless and make it look as true to life as you can, which is exactly the reason why I study everything that I study, because it makes the photo shoot experience so much better.
Yeah.
Because I was saying this on a bonus call thing that I had the other day, that like I know that as photographers, we really understand the importance of posing, that we really understand, okay, the photo shoot in and of it, that's the definition of being a photographer is, can I take people out on a photo shoot, pose them and make photos? I get that. Everybody understands that. But I don't know that everybody really grasps how powerful the posing is and how much that changes your business, because it's the one thing that you are supposed to be able to do as an expert inside of your business. So if you go in and you flub the posing and you make people feel uncomfortable, then it has ripple effects. It's the butterfly effect inside of your business. And I can't really pinpoint, maybe you can, Lisa. I can't really pinpoint any other thing inside of our businesses that impacts so much. Like marketing, you can market with Google Ads, you can market with, SEO, you can market with social media, you can market through your email newsletter. There's tons of different ways we can market. If we flub one, we can pick up another, right?
Yeah.
There's so much different like sales psychology and buying psychology and all of that works through like our sales room and that whole entire process. If you suck at one thing, you can pick up another. If you don't love IPS, I won't even say that. If you don't love IPS, fall in love with it, because that's the way that you're going to make money. I don't even want to give you an out there, but there's over here, there's all these other things we can like, okay, we suck at this, we can pick it up this way. Or even on social media, okay, I suck at doing reels, but I can do a carousel post like a boss, right? But posing, there's no ins or outs. You're either going to really get it and you're going to understand how much of snowball effect that has in your business. Because if you can pose people really freaking well, and if you can make them feel so incredibly comfortable on a photo shoot, then it impacts how much money you can make. It impacts how many more people you're going to book. It impacts what people say about you. It impacts your word of mouth marketing. It impacts everything. So if you mess up the posing in the middle of your client experience, you fuck up the back end and you fuck up the front end.
Yeah.
Right? And understanding that is the through line to your whole entire business as a photographer.
Yeah. I love it.
Which is wild. It's wild that we have this. It's like a hairdresser sucking at doing hair.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. We have this one thing that it's like, if I can't make this one thing happen, if I can't get people to feel comfortable in front of my camera, then I'm probably not going to run a successful business. You could probably still make 40 grand a year. You could probably still run a cute little like side chick of a business. You could probably do all of those things. Or you can slowly work for 10 plus years or so until you finally get the hang of it. And then you can run something a little bit more successful. But if you are stuck in your posing, it is 100% having an impact on your whole entire business.
Yeah. I love that. What came to mind too was like, people don't forget what you said or what you did. They remember how you made them feel. And
yeah. Who is it that said that? Is that
Maya Angelou or something? I really don't know.
Yeah, it's Maya. I think it's Maya. It's a Maya or a Gandhi. It's
right.
It's one of them that people can remember. People can forget all of the other things, but they're never going to forget the way that you made them feel, which is huge. And one of the biggest things that I notice, and this is the whole entire reason why I built the posing method, is because before I really stepped into education, before I really was like, okay, I'm going to name it, it's Posers, it's the podcast, it's the mastermind, it's the posing method, all of that, I was probably just doing what other people do prior to education, just sort of like doing some styled shoots here and there, running a workshop, right? Like I ran a couple of those little 5-person workshops like out of my house and, things like that. And whenever I would get into any sort of situation that I would be watching other photographers through their direction, work through, because that's what we're doing. We're directing a photo shoot. We're choreographing a photo shoot. Anybody who thinks that you're doing pose, 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 you're automatically stiff. You're automatically awkward. That's not how it goes. You should be directing and choreographing a whole entire experience.
Yeah.
So what I would see is that I don't want to use the word most photographers because, again, I don't know how other photographers do, but mostly for what I was seeing and from what I hear of other people telling me, and I talk to other photographers a lot, is that they skip the two most important steps before you get to the part of actually posing your clients. So inside of the posing method, there's an actual like formula. There's a posing formula that you work through, and it's so simple. It is so easy. It can relax your clients literally within 2 minutes flat. And it's the first two things that are happening that people are forgetting. So the first part of the formula is called capitalization. The second part is called brain sync. And then the third part is called initialize. I don't even remember. It's my own formula. It's initiate. But so capitalization is, I talk about it, is you're getting a little glimpse inside of the posing method.
I love it. We're so lucky.
But okay, so capitalization is basically this idea that humans are capable of reliving shared experiences to the full capacity emotionally as we did whenever we first lived them, right?
Yeah.
So that's like whenever you've just come home from a really incredible vacation. What's the best vacation you've ever been on in your life, Lisa?
Oh, probably Hawaii.
Okay, so you went to Hawaii. Okay, now say you're 5 years out of going to Hawaii, but one of your friends is going to Hawaii, and they say to you, like, tell me everything that you did. The way your face just changed. I hope people can see that on the video because that's it. The way your face just changed was you automatically triggered into a shared experience that you've had. You probably went there with your family, I'm assuming. But so for your friend to come and say, tell me everything that you did, tell me all the best things, I need to make sure that I have the best vacation, you are automatically flooded with all of those same emotions that you've already shared with your family. Okay. So now imagine if you're on a photo shoot and your photographer isn't stand here, stand here, stand here, put your hand in your pocket, move your head this way, like twist this way. Even if you're trying to be interactive and kid goes on dad's shoulders and whatever, and then they just stand back and be like, okay, laugh. Okay, smile, right?
Yeah.
But imagine that they were to put you into that sort of scenario and they first talked to you about, hey, your mom told me that you guys have gone to Hawaii before. What was your favorite thing to do in Hawaii? And the way your kids would light up and the way that you would light up and the way that your family would sink into that shared memory, right? That's capitalization. Humans have the capability of literally being able to take those shared experiences, relive them to the same capacity that they felt them the very first time. And it is magnified when you are around those same people who you share those experiences with. So then we're going into step 2 of the formula, which is brain sync. So then I'm saying, especially to your kids or to you or to whoever, okay, we're in Hawaii. We're talking about Hawaii. We're talking about your vacation. We're not talking about being on the photo shoot. We're not talking about posing. But I'm then saying, oh my God, you guys went surfing. What did that feel like? And then your kids are like, oh, it was so much fun. It was this, it was that. And I was like, do you think that you had the biggest smile on your face ever during that? And they're like, oh my God, couldn't stop. Like I ran up to my mom. I was like telling her all about it, blah, blah. Kid, like especially kids. And this is influence too. If you want people to like you, if you want people to do the things you want them to do, all you have to do is ask them questions.
Yes.
All you have to do is show interest in who they are and what they like and get you to tell them those things. And you'll have a whole entire different person in front of you than if you go in there and try to tell them where to put their hands and how to move and how to do things, right? So those are the first 2 steps that photographers actually skip, is that controlling of their emotions. It literally, this is my biggest like piece of marketing for the posing method, is it drops dopamine and oxytocin within the first literal 2 minutes of your shoot. And people forget they're on a photo shoot. They forget that they're even like in a situation where they feel insecure, like we were talking about before, because you've basically just brought their life to them. You've brought their experiences to them. So now they don't have to act. They don't have to force it.
Mhm.
They don't have to stand here and smile and say cheese and do all this. They simply get to actually interact with their family. And this is why I have reviews inside of my business of people saying, not just, oh, it was a great time, or oh, she created beautiful photos. Oh, she did this, she did that, whatever. My reviews from clients are literally like, I don't understand what we just did.
Yeah.
That was an experience I've never felt before. I remember one of my couples said on a review that was on my website for years saying, I don't understand how she did it, but it was an experience like I've never felt before.
Yeah.
And because then whenever you're doing that for an hour straight and you're literally just creating this environment of almost euphoria for the family because you're running through all of their favorite things, talking about all the amazing things they do, then it changes the whole entire vibe of the shoot. And then the third step of the formula is simply initiate, and you're going through and you're just saying, okay, let's pretend we're doing that. Let's do this. Okay, like you love a Disneyland parade, get up on your dad's shoulders then. Let's do that. So and inside of the posing method, obviously it goes so much more into this. There's 14 other pieces that you have to know that all tie into it and working together in order to really be directing and choreographing versus posing. And then it gives you like all of these other shortcuts. They're called brain heuristics that are in there, but like it gives you so much more, obviously. But that's a big piece of it. And that's the part that most photographers miss.
Yeah.
Is really regulating and controlling emotions first before you're asking anybody how to move their body. And that's the biggest key of literally, it erases insecurity.
Yeah.
It erases awkward. It erases everything that usually comes along with a photo shoot. And then whenever your clients are talking about that to their friends, that's like marketing on crack, right?
Totally.
That's like whenever
Oh my
people
God,
are
she's
saying
amazing. Yeah. Yeah. I
yeah.
love it.
Whenever people are saying those things about you, then you just automatically create this. You create what I created. You create this like cult-like following inside of your city where people will pay you thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to have their photo taken by you because of that experience.
What I think I love the most is the way that you're explaining this is it's not about manipulating people to make more sales. It's about creating that experience that they love. And so of course they're going to tell their friends. Of course they're going to come back. It's like reciprocity, right? It's not sales psychology, which kind of sometimes feels manipulative.
It does a little bit, but I also do know how powerful it is.
Yeah.
I know that like whenever I'm on a photo shoot, I know that I have this much sort of control. I don't want to call it control, but influence over how they're going to interact. And I know the gamut of emotions that I can get, especially from children, because there's so many things. Also inside of the posing method, there's a developmental guide. The developmental guide goes through every single age grouping of kids and the magic phrases that you can use with every single one of them that will automatically have them like eating out of the palm of your hand.
Yeah.
And so I know that there's so much power there and I warn people about it too. If somebody is coming into my studio and they think that they're coming in to like just grab a family photo or to just, they're coming in on, I do these little promos sometimes, like whenever I don't want to do a fundraiser for my kids' school, I'll tell my clients like, hey, send money to my kids' school and I'll do a little mini shoot of sorts, but it's never a mini shoot. I hate a mini shoot. So I'm not even wanting to call it a mini shoot, but if they come in, I'll warn them of the power that I have. Like I'll warn them like, hey, I want to respect your bank account because you're in here on this promo. You're in here because you donated to my kids' school. And I have so much gratitude for that. So if you want me to just take one photo, I will, and it'll be great and it'll be amazing. And you'll get your one photo that you think you're coming in to have. But if I do more with your family, you're going to spend thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And I don't say this whenever it's a normal client. I don't say this whenever it's a normal shoot, right? But I do understand the power that this has because then even whenever I'm out on a photo shoot and I know that I'm rolling through all of the combinations that I need to get on the shoot, I know how powerful it is going to be. I know how much the parents are going to love the photos. I know the difference between, okay, this is going to be a $2,000 shoot, this is going to be a $10,000 shoot.
Yeah.
Like just based on how much like persuasion and like control I have over it and what I'm creating, because I know that they're going to be so good on the back end that people aren't going to be able to say no to those photos. So there is that level of like control around it that I will always have in my back pocket. That and it's that through line that I was talking about before, that knowing that you can be that good on a photo shoot, that you can control things to that extent, you also know that you're going to be able to have a ton of control over your sales room and how much money you're making and what you can demand and what you know you can set your worth at, because then it's something that you're completely setting yourself outside of what anybody else in your market is doing. So there is that level of manipulation to it. There is that level of control of, I know exactly what I'm doing. I know that I'm going to come and I'm going to pull this lever and I'm going to be this good on the shoot. So then I know I'm going to make a lot of money from it.
Yeah. I love that. You know, what's funny is I do something in my newborn sessions that I didn't realize, because I always, right before I do the parents with their newborn, I ask them to tell me how they met, and they tell me their love story.
Yeah.
And they just get like sparkly, and then I get them holding their baby, and that's the shot.
I literally just said the same exact thing the other day. Somebody asked me, like, if I have, you know, a new family, and because it was a bonus call inside of the posing method. So it was all my students who had already taken it. They know what we're talking about. And she asked if I have a brand new family. So it's mom, dad, or dad and dad, mom and mom, whatever, and like one baby child. So there's not a lot of shared experiences yet, right? Because the baby is so young.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, no. You still have so much. All you have to do is ask them about their wedding day. All you have to do is ask them, hey, look at this baby that you have right now. Is this the dream? Is this what you thought this is going to feel like? And it's so like, powerful that I've had, I've had other students of mine saying, Jody, you've got to harness this a bit, because especially whenever you're coming in with newborns and things like that, you get moms coming in who are just, they'll ruin all their makeup and they'll cry these big buckets of tears. And so it's really powerful the way that it works and the way that you can control the mind and how you can get people to relax on your photo shoots. So
I love it.
I like that you like naturally keyed into that too.
I think it's also about being curious. Be curious about your clients. And because it doesn't come from, it's like, I just really honestly do want to know, but I also know the result and the sparkle in the eye when someone's talking about something they love and something that's so meaningful to them. It's so great.
But Lisa, that comes with experience that you have because you're confident and because you're comfortable as a photographer, right?
Yeah.
When we have, like, for my students, whenever they're photographers who like don't have as much confidence, or they don't have their systems sort of nailed down of how they run a photo shoot, or they're really struggling buying a posing guide here and a posing guide there and trying to memorize poses, and their value and their worth is really wrapped up in, oh my God, I have to go on this shoot and I have to know this and this and this and this, and I have to make sure that I can do, and they get so like sort of pent up and anxious and nervous. And so like the funny thing is that the posing method, we talk so much about, you know, the moms, the dads, them having the insecurities and how that always sort of like manifests on the shoot. But learning to pose this way also manages the photographer's insecurities. Because then once you're getting into that scenario, you're not having to memorize poses. You're not having to memorize, what am I going to do next? You're not having to go in thinking like, oh my God, are they going to judge me because I go blank in the middle of a photo shoot? And inside the posing method, there's a whole entire method that you can use to keep you from ever going blank ever again on a shoot. But like whenever you're managing your own insecurities as the photographer, that's whenever magic can happen, because you're managing yours, you're managing theirs. Then you know that experience can happen, but you're able to sit in that curiosity inside of the shoot. You're able to relax and just be like, I want to know what you guys are thinking and feeling right now, because you're not trying to prove anything, right? Like you're established. You've got all this experience behind or under your belt, and your clients come to you knowing that you're going to be as good as you are. But that doesn't come naturally. That comes with time and with practice. And luckily, there's education out there that you do and that I do and things like that that can take photographers from starting out at like step A and getting them to step Z literally with it. My course can be done, it can be done in 4 hours. Like you can literally be shooting differently tomorrow if you wanted to jump in and take this kind of education. But there's this great, how long have you been shooting, Lisa?
Oh, 15 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So whenever we started, like I started 18 years ago, right? Whenever we started, there had to be this gap in the in like your talent, right? It was like we really had that artist gap of here's the thing that we think we can create and here's the thing we're actually creating, and there's this huge gap of, oh my God, my work has got to suck for a really long period of time, right? So that was the dynamic whenever we were first starting out. And then the internet really happened. And the internet put the social comparison theory on crack, right?
Yeah.
Because it automatically takes a brand new photographer who is still in that space where they're not creating the way that clients can go on Pinterest, put together a mood board, walk up to a brand new photographer and be like, here, create this, right? And that photographer has no idea how to do any of that stuff. And for us, it would have taken us, 10 years to get to the place that we're actually creating in that way that's, Pinterest worthy, magazine worthy, get it published, like understanding like how to actually do that. But nowadays, there's all this education that can literally take a photographer from, its infancy to all the way being of mastery within 3 years, 5 years, if you invest and if you do the right education and if you do the things that, that you need inside your business. That's the part that's wild to me, is that photographers now have it so much easier than we did whenever we were first starting, because there's this speed train that you can get on and you can just learn it all like right away and be making 6 figures, multiple 6 figures in such a short period of time. As long as you know that the education that you're getting into is like really legit and really great. So
I love so good. I love this conversation.
God,
so
we went from talking periods to speed like, trains of education.
I love it.
Can we title the podcast that? Like,
well, the perimenopause brain. Right. No, the perimenopause train. How about that?
I love that. Throw that into your ChatGPT. Tell it to give you something witty, because like we've really run the gamut here, haven't we?
I love it. I honestly could spend like the next 4 hours just continuing this conversation. I love it. But
I think so too. It's just so deep. It can go for
so
like,
deep. It's so deep. And there's so many. Like I'm gonna have to have you back on, obviously, because this has been so good.
I would love to come back. Well, I think that maybe now you have to come over and be on Posers.
I will be on Posers. You can ask me whatever you want.
I love it. I love it. I'll dig down into the depths of your brain instead of
analyze me, because it's interesting in there. You never know what you're gonna get.
You never know. Same here. I love that.
Okay, so we're gonna do our lightning round because I love to do these. What was your most unhinged era that you're now proud of?
We've said a lot of cuss words here. And I feel like people at least know that I'm a little bit unhinged myself most of the time. So whenever I say the next words, know that it comes from a very loving place. A loving place for women. And there's no, you're like, where are you taking this, Jody? My favorite, most unhinged era of my life is what I call my slut spree. And the year after, that is said with love. Everybody who is out there living their best lives and doing
no slut shaming
all of the wonderful things. There is not a slut shamer in any of this.
Nope.
I call it my slut spree. Because so whenever I first met my ex-husband, I was 19 years old. I married him whenever I was 22. So I never had that sow your wild oats sort of thing. But so the year after my divorce, I was like, you know what? We're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to figure out who we are, right? We're going to figure out who she is.
Yep.
So I took a year. It actually got cut short because I met my now husband. And I get mad at him all the time. I'm like, you stopped my slut spree. How dare you? But now that I look back on it, it wasn't just like me like wanting to, just have some fun and like date and do whatever I wanted to do. Because also I had my boys 90% of the time. I had Wednesdays. I had one day a week. So my definition of slutting around is probably not everybody else's definition of slutting
universal.
around. But yeah, I took this year and I like had this like year of yes, basically, in regards to dating, putting myself out there, like seeing what that felt like again. But really what I was doing is I was like validating, right? I was like, am I still attractive? Are men gonna still think that I'm attractive? Like, I'm divorced, I've got 3 kids. Is the whole like, oh, she's got baggage thing, is that a deal? Is that gonna be part of the deal? So it was a lot of that. But my whole point in all of this is that while I was on my slut spree, I Instagram storied the whole entire thing. And I would go on these dates. I would never talk about the slutting. I would never talk about the actual sleeping with people, but I would go on all of these dates and I would come out of the dates and then basically be like rating the dates, rating the men, talking about all the like horrible men that are out there to date, talking about the horrible things they would wear. I had this whole entire rant on cargo shorts for the longest time because this guy showed up on a date with cargo shorts. And then I said I had to go to the bathroom and I walked out because I was like, I will not go on a date with a man who can't even put on a pair of pants for me. Like, no. So if you can imagine, as unhinged as I am, just as a normal human now, imagine that running through dating and that whole world and it being literally a play-by-play on my Instagram stories. If you talk to any of my OG followers, that was their absolute favorite time of my life.
I love it.
Yeah. And then I met my husband and he put a stop to all of it. So
that's awesome. How long have you been married?
I've been remarried now 2 years.
Congratulations. We're
Thank
hitting
you.
our,
Thank
oh
you.
gosh, I got married at 23 and I'm 48 when we're still married. So
that in and of itself is a feat.
it is a feat.
But also, you know what? Once you've got one man trained, don't go try to do another one.
Seriously? It's funny because I've had so many friends go through divorces and I love to go on Tinder and because I'm married and I'm like,
oh my God,
I couldn't download this. And I'm like, it's like Amazon shopping for a human. How come there's no reviews? There should be reviews on there.
There should be reviews. And actually there are now. There's some sort of, I don't remember what it's called, but I remember hearing about it, that women have created these forums that they can go into, especially in their cities, and talk about the men who are on these dating sites. I don't remember what it's called, but I do know that it exists.
It's like on Facebook groups. I think it's called Are We Dating the Same Guy? And there is some chaos in there.
So thank God. Women are so smart. We are so smart. We'll share stories for survival. I love it. And you know what? If there was an Amazon in regards to dating, I was Amazon Prime. I was getting men in and out. Deliver that by tomorrow, okay? Have it on my doorstep, and now you're probably a piece of trash and I want to return you.
I love it. I love it. You're hilarious. I love it. Okay. If your personality was an ice cream flavor, what would yours be?
I think I would be Rocky Road. I think I would be like, everybody kind of loves the chocolate surrounding, but every once in a while you're going to hit a little bit of nuttiness.
I love it.
I think I'm Rocky Road. Yeah.
I'm Moonbeam ice cream because no one knows what the hell's in it.
Oh, my thought right there was, what the hell is that?
It's the Benson Boone song. He's got Moonbeam ice cream. So I'm like, what is Moonbeam ice cream?
That's country. That's country, right?
Oh gosh. I'll send you a song called Ghost Town. I'm obsessed with him.
No, I know who he is. I just thought he was more like country based. And I was just going to say that's maybe why I don't know that song. Maybe. But I know that I listen to Chill Hits and I'm pretty sure he's on Chill Hits all the time. So
probably.
God, tell me I'm 40 without telling me I'm 40.
Seriously. Okay, well then that is my next song. My next question is, what's a song that makes you feel instantly untouchable?
It is hands down Glorious by Macklemore. Because it was my theme song during my divorce. It's actually the theme song that's running with the Posers podcast. I've run it through my business. Literally, I've branded a piano version of it inside of my business for the last 8 years at least. But when I was going through my divorce, Glorious by Macklemore was like really popular. And there's like a line in it that says something along the lines of, and now I'm back, but I never left. That basically, this is what I was made for. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. So like, it's 100% that.
I love it. I love it. Okay. So
Yeah. What's yours?
honestly, Enter Sandman by Metallica.
I love that. If we were going along that route, mine's the Thong Song by Cisco. Like just the ultimate like song that gets me out of my chair and that I will dance to is Thong Song by Cisco for sure.
I have a playlist called I'm in a Fucking Mood, and it has all like heavy rock, like heavy metal rock, like things you would not, looking at me, you would be like, what? Like I am the biggest Guns N' Roses fan. I'm going to Guns N' Roses with my sister in August, and I'm so excited.
No, I love that. I'm not much of a music person, but whenever I go into a meeting, feel good pick me ups, I'm like a Nina Simone. I'm like,
yeah.
Like I love all that. Little Tina Turner. Yeah. I'll go down that road for sure.
I love it. And I love to end my interviews just with this last question. And it is, what are you currently curious about or artistically curious about?
Oh, this doesn't match the question, but what I'm artistically curious about right now is kind of getting yourself out of a slump. Like I feel kind of creatively bored right now, but also like I love the way that I shoot. I love the work that I do. I love my clients. I love all of that. But inside of a studio, I feel like I do a lot of like really like, you know, different compositions and like the way that I set people up and the way that I pose. I love it. But I also feel like, okay, what's next? Okay, like where can I push this boundary? Where can I go in this next spot? And like, I always like to be looking for inspiration outside of the photo world and more in the design world and more in like fashion world and like things like that. So right now I'm really curious about what is like my next look. What's my next move? What's my next like thing that I'm going to be doing inside of the studio, and where is that going to be defined, and where am I going to find that inspiration for it? Because I know it'll come. It just, you know, I trust myself that it'll come at some point, but I'm just getting a little bit stagnant in my own work and I want to push myself. So that's where I'm at. I'm curious of myself.
I love it. I love it. Well, Jody, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. This has been so fun and delightful and silly, and I just love conversations like this.
I love it too. I feel like we were immediate best friends. The minute you put on the screen, I was like, oh my God, I like you. I love you.
Okay, so that is a wrap on this episode of the Posers Podcast. If you loved it, please subscribe, rate, and review, because honestly, algorithms are needier than all of our ex-boyfriends combined, and ladies, I need all the help I can get. If you've got thoughts, questions, love letters, even hate mail, please send them my way. I actually read every single one of them. So until next time, stay bold, stay messy, and don't let the bullshit win. Tits up, ears open, and go build something incredible. Bye for now, friends.